Happy Saturday, everybody. I'm Go Beer Go Home, and welcome to Rail Talk Live. Tonight, we're going to be working on a few things, a different kit. I know you guys have seen me work on this kit up here. It's in its spot right now so that to see if it stays there, more or less. But I'm going to be working on a different kit. I called this episode Paper and Plastic. Why? Plastic kits, but I'm going to be working on my paper mill a little bit. It's a kit actually that I got a long time ago, and I'm talking like 2 houses ago. And I did a series on the Walthers kit when I had first got it. I painted the main body of it. Didn't do too much as far as detail or anything like that. But then on my last layout, when I went to actually put a paper mill in, I ended up putting this in my back room. I never even used it. So I'm going to bring it back to life, and we're going to use it on this layout because I have a bit more room that I can use it with. So I think it would be a great addition. And also it allows me to pull the box cars right in, and I can park them inside, which is also pretty cool. But before we get to work, of course, before we do any of that, I really want to say hi to everybody who took the time to show up tonight. Who do we have? So, Mark, M&M Rails, finally eating my crumbs, Brian. Mark, you're disqualified, though, because you left crumbs everywhere. So, Brian gets the Timbits tonight. How's it going, Todd? Thanks for joining, guys. And then we've got Dundas Junction Model Railroad, James. How's it going, James? And we also have Awesome Possum and Wigwag. How's it going, Wigwag? Todd Armstrong, how's it going? Trains by Perry. Hello, hello. Perry put out a new video today. I did a bit of unboxing. Apparently, Amazon still delivers, so that's pretty good. Cowboy Steve, yeehaw. And we got Matthews Model Railroad. It's me, Adrian, but that was just a name for a gaming channel with friends. But now I changed to my actual name if it shows. Oh, okay, yeah, it does. How's it going? We're gonna be busy tonight. Got lots to do. Lots and lots to do. Hey, Bubs. Bub031. He's going into work. So, no Bubs tonight. John, how's it going, John? Mom and Son Rail fans. Tammy Ray, how's it going? And, yeah. So, like I said, my phone's going off. My wife is asking if I am live right now. Well, if she followed me, yes. I totally forgot. Okay. So, so like I said, I'm going to be working on a paper mill, my paper mill that I've had for quite a while. Started it, but I think it's time to do some detailing. If you guys remember, I was working on a wood kit, an ITLA kit, where I was practicing doing a lot of brickwork. And I want to try doing the same technique, but with a plastic kit. It's a little bit tougher to do because it doesn't absorb the paint like, wood, if that makes sense. So I'm going to try that. But yeah, Bubs is going to be driving, so he'll be busy. Well, be careful out there. It's, the snow and whatnot. So also, and this is something I tend to experience sometimes, whenever I go into somebody's live, sometimes, and it's been happening a lot lately, I don't show up when I comment and nobody sees me. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's on my end or if it's on your end. But if you're doing a live, or even for those of you who are in the chat, if it gives you an option saying chat filter, it's usually set to top comments. Change it to all comments, because some people you might not even be able to see. So just a little PSA for you guys. All right, so I'll show you this. This is what I have been working on for the last several weeks. That's where I'm at right now. I love it. It looks great. I'm starting to add little walkways right across the front there, just with some plastic. But it's not done yet, and I'll get back to it at some point. But there's some parts that I need to get for it, and I don't have them. So that's why I'm kind of going off and doing other stuff now. So first and foremost, I want to show you guys a trick. When I did the paper mill, not the paper mill, the ITLA kit, you guys remember that I did like a platform, almost almost like made it into a module. Well, I made a concrete tiled platform. I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. So here you can see I've got this cork sheet. This is some standard cork here. I got this from the dollar store. You get 2 1x1, so it's a foot by a foot squared, and you get 2 of them for I think $3, which is probably the cheapest that I found it. And the thickness is the same thickness as your regular Midwest cork, so you can use them in conjunction with each other. What I did here was I'm putting the paper mill building right here, and I'm going to have this out the front, and this is where the trucks are going to be sitting, and they can back in and load up, and then they leave or whatever. So just a truck, rail to truck transfer or whatever, however you want to call it. And I've marked out, these are all 4-inch by 4-inch squares. You can kind of see them on there. And then these are a little bit smaller because this is my cutoff line here. The track comes along here, so I wanted to make sure that this part here gets removed. And then I had an extra piece. I always save my scrap pieces as well. And this will make it the proper width, because then I've got another building that goes right here. So I just wanted to show you how I do this, basically. If you want to try it, you can do it too. So I'm just gonna cut first and foremost the sections here. All my cut on my pen lines here. Cork is really easy to cut, but it's hard to find. So if you can find some cork, then you'll be set. Sparky 107, how's it going? And we got John Garber, how's it going? So again, I'm just cutting these on their lines, and they'll get separated. And then the next part of this, which I'm not going to do tonight because it's super messy and I don't want to do it while I'm on camera. That'll be the concrete part, where you add plaster to each of these squares. So I take the drywall compound, the premixed stuff. You can do either or, but I just get the premixed stuff because it's easier. And what happens is basically that when you have your square, and I'm going to show you here once I cut this one square off. Okay, so you have your square. This is the 4 by 4 inch square. I take the plaster and I put it on here, and I cover the whole thing and make it nice and smooth. Don't make any bumps or anything like that. Just make it nice and smooth. You let that dry. It takes, I don't know, I would leave it for a day, good 24 hours or so. Give it a little sanding so it is smooth. And then basically you can paint it at that point. Paint it a concrete color. If it's newer concrete, it's going to be more of a gray. If it's an older concrete, it's going to be more of a yellow. It's going to have a bit of a yellow tinge to it. But then what happens is that you can break it and then put it back together. And it gives you all these unique crack shapes, and depending on how you do it, it'll look or simulate broken concrete or cracked concrete. And then you glue it down in the same fashion which it would go together here. So 3 squares wide or 4 squares wide? 4 squares wide. So it'll go 4 squares wide and 3 and a bit tall. And you glue them down. And then you have a nice concrete looking driveway or parking lot. And these are all just tiles, right? So I'm just going to add a couple more here. And that's all you're doing, really. You just want to be careful when you're cutting. I totally was not careful there, but that's okay. You can kind of piece that back together. That's not a problem. Which way does it go then? Oh, it goes like that. There we go. That in there, that in there, and then just keep going at it here. A couple more pieces. And then, of course, because you have the gray, it's going to be painted gray. And what you can do, I think I got to turn this. Then you can just add natural weathering to it after you've painted it and all that, and it's in place, just to kind of bring it up to the next level, you know. All right, so there's your concrete floor, or more or less your parking lot for whatever it is that you're building. Mine's just going to have the trailers and whatnot here, and then it's going to go right up against the backdrop, so I don't have to really worry about what's going on here. It's more or less just here, and then 2 buildings, one on each side of this, and then the train right in the front. And you can put stuff on here like forklifts or some pallets, whatever. You've got tons of bay doors right in front here that would add to the scene as well. So once I get these all done up with the concrete and it dries and I paint it, when I go to put it down, you guys will be able to see me do that firsthand, and I'll be able to show you the rest of this little project that I'm doing here with the paper mill. But for now, we're going to work on the actual paper mill. So I'm going to grab that now, and we'll take a look and see how that looks now, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So this is a really big kit. And when I say big, it's not like some of my other ones that have so much detail to them. This is just, it has a huge footprint to it. And you can tell it's kind of broken in certain areas. The joys of moving, right? And I got to show you. Can you see the dust on here? Yuck. So, yeah, some of this is going to have to get cleaned up as well because I gotta obviously make it better. Gotta use it now, right? So there's 3 roof pieces. There's also a long one that goes here. That's behind me already. It's full of dust too. So basically, yeah, you've got your regular kit here. You know, you could do it half the size and just right here, you know, use the back section. I've seen somebody do that before. Or push it forward, leave the big piece off, and then do a much smaller section. Me, I like to do the whole thing. You get a very decent inside. I'll show you here because this thing is, again, this is pretty massive. So, yeah, look at the size of this thing. So this is a very big kit with a very big footprint. And typically, it's double everything. So this wall here is not a full length. You can kind of see that there's a line right here. This is where the 2 pieces butt up together. Same thing happens on the back side. These end pieces here, these are all solid. And then you've got your window frame pieces, which I left white. And then they give you brick pieces to put in between. Other than that, there's not much else to it. And then one thing I did do, it wouldn't really matter for this kit or for where I'm putting this, because this is going up against the wall and then this side's going up against the wall. This is supposed to be solid here. This is normally a solid piece and, you know, you can't see through it. You can't do anything with it. But what I did was I traced out the doorway from this end here on this piece. I cut it out and I just put the little, you can kind of see it goes to the inside here, right here. And that just blocks any sort of view in there. If you're, especially like if you're just looking at it like that, train goes through that way and comes out the front. Or this could be the front. It doesn't really matter. And then this is the side I was talking about that is going to have a little bit more to it, because we've got our loading bays. The only thing I'm missing are the bumpers or the padding that goes around each of the doors here. I don't know what the name of those things are specifically, but I do have a bunch of them because you collect things over the years. So, yeah, not a fan of small industries. Like I just like building really big kits. I don't know. It's more fun that way. When it's a really small kit, I find that it's more tedious. Where something like this, you know, you can really go ham with it. But the problem with this one is that it is all brick. You know, I know I did it in a nice red color, and the red, I like, you know, I like it. I like the color that I chose for this. But I'm gonna have to dumb that down a lot because there's a lot to it. But I have to fix this still. So I'm going to fix this, see if I can patch that, and then see if I can put something there that would more or less strengthen this, because I don't like that keeps breaking. So let's see what we can do here. Trailer door seals. Yeah. Well, they, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have them somewhere. I just don't know exactly where they are. So I'm going to have to look for them. That's going to be tomorrow's problem, I think. It'll have to be, because for me to go through all my stuff right now to find those might take a while. And I think you guys would much rather see me do this. Rail Artist, how's it going? Trackside Mike, hello. Okay, so once I kind of get this sorted here, I'm going to put a piece on there that will somewhat strengthen that. You should add a platform inside the building, because that's where the paper would be loaded into the boxcars. Yeah, I just, because of where it's located, you can't really see inside all that well. So I wasn't too concerned with the interior of this one. I could put some lights inside to shine through the open window areas, but yeah, I don't want to draw too much attention to the inside of this one. This is more or less just a building that's going to go in the corner and serve as a drop off. But yeah, there's not too much you can see as far as with the inside. And of course, this is going to be a pain, and it's not going to want me to hold. So I think I need to find something that I can use to strengthen it. I don't think I need these. Okay, so I found some parts here. This might work. And it technically shouldn't affect anything else because there's nothing where it goes. And yeah, I just hope that this works. It's kind of a pain. Not gonna lie, it's kind of a pain. But we'll see what happens here. There's a couple of corners here that didn't seal up all that well when I built it the first time. So I'm going to see if I can fix those just to add a bit of strength. And then I've got a base foundation that I'm going to be putting on this as well. And it's going to help for moving it and doing a few other things as well on the outside as far as adding, scenery. So. Yeah, the colder outside it gets, I think I'm starting to feel a bit more of the cold down here now. The insulation is okay, but when it's cold, it's cold. You can feel it. This will probably take a while to dry too. And I bet if I go to flip this, it's going to break. Yeah, see, it broke. Pieces like this, it's very difficult to gauge how this is going to go. I'm probably going to have to put a cover-up piece on there just to kind of strengthen it on the outside as well. But I'm going to do both the top and the bottom just to see if I can get it to hold a little bit better. Let's see if I can add. So to make it a little bit stronger here too. So that is that's about 4 inches. Do I have a piece that I can use? I'm going to try and clip these together first. So while that's doing that, yeah, I've got some scrap styrene right here that I'm going to use to support it. I just got to cut it down a little bit. I'm going to have to turn this thing around. Really good view of this. Quick cutter. Okay, so that works. And having that little wall there, it's going to hold it up, and it's not going to go anywhere. I hope. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to go on to the next thing here. Because I'm wondering how I should do this. So this is the basic red color. I want to do a burnt sienna, and I'm going to add some dark brick. So I'm going to use the satin acrylic. What brown color is this? Burnt umber. And then I can also use some of the gray as well, just for the odd brick. What's this? Melted chocolate. Too bad it's not real chocolate. Oh well. Okay, so what I typically do is I add a bit to a little container and I water it down. There's my 3 containers. And of course, I totally forgot paper towel, just in case I need to wipe off the brush at all. That's okay, because that happens. And then I've got a bit of water here as well. I guess you guys can really see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. And then you got stir stick somewhere. I think I'm overly prepared in some cases. Oh, it splashed me. Okay. So if I can turn this on its side. I'm going to start back here. And of course, that's going to do that. Okay, I'll start at the front. So I'm going to have to put some glue on there. Hey, Ronald, how's it going? Here's my lids. Okay, so I'm going to start with the burnt sienna, and I'm going to do some burnt sienna bricks. This is one of those things that you guys found to be very painful because it's really painful. Because I've got all these little bricks here, and you just go in, and you're not doing every single one, but you're doing a bunch. And you're like, but Chris, why would you do all these bricks? And it's like, well, the more work you put into something, the better it'll look. And I really wanted to see how this would turn out with a plastic building opposed to the wood kit. If I'm being honest, I really wanted to see the comparison. Now, nothing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to change the color of the edge here. I'd probably end up doing it like black or something. This actually has tinier, finer bricks compared to the other kit, the wood kit. Hey, Split Rock. Well, as I was just saying, I've done wood kits in the past, and doing brick on wood, a wood kit, is a lot easier than plastic. But I wanted to see if I could apply the same technique that I used when doing a wood kit and almost replicate that here, but on a plastic kit. And if that means painting a lot of individual bricks, which I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. It's going to kind of look like that so far. But I'll come back and I'll put a wash over it. So it's kind of painful, not going to lie. But, we're getting stuff done. And my hands are kind of shaky too. But you'll notice I'm not doing every single brick. But this will look great when you have multiple colors on there. Hey, Anthony, how's it going? There we go. I'm just going to keep chugging along here. And hopefully I can get a lot of this done. And I can go on to the next step. While I have you, though, let me tell you about this little ditty that we've got that happens every Thursday night, called Third Rail Thursday. Now, if you were watching last Thursday, you can see our new guest host, Denny, and he's from N-Scale Dystopia, and he was live for Third Rail Thursday, and I think he did a bang-up job. What do you guys think? Because he's kind of stepped in to cover for Tim, and I think he's running with it, like he said it's like you can do anything, right? And I said, yeah, you can do whatever you want, you want to work on something, you want to run a train, you can do whatever. And he really went with it, which is pretty cool. This is a big kit. Absolutely. The funny thing is that when you get the paper mill in N-Scale, you get this kit, but then you get like 2 other kits as well. Where this one you have to buy all 4 kits separately, which is kind of a pain. So kudos to N-Scalers. But Denny did a great job, and he's going to be our new regular first of the month Thursday. I'm still going to do second, and then Mark's going to do third. So make sure if you don't already subscribe or follow any of these guys, you're going to want to. Sparky said Denny did, and more chat popped up. A second. Denny did a great job. Just has to work on the audio a bit when he switches cameras. Todd says Denny did a great job. Lots of creative content, creative little booklets. Paper mill buildings anymore. Yeah, they're very hard to find. One of the hardest ones to find for myself was the craft mill, and I do have it, but it was really hard to find. This is probably the easiest one to find because you could use this for a lot of different industries. It's a paper mill. They call it the paper mill.
but you can use it for a lot of different things.
Craft mill and pulp tanks are out of production. Yeah, I've got those tanks somewhere, but I don't know if I'm going to be using them on my layout. I also have the rotary dump, and yeah, I just don't think that they're going to make the cut this time, unfortunately. Now, January is a very busy month because we have 5 Thursdays that month. And we're going to Springfield at some point. So, yeah, there's going to be lots to talk about. Hey, Bradley, how's it going? Only 2 million bricks to go. Oh, probably. That's why I'm only going to do the this wall and this wall, because the other 2 walls are going to be, facing the walls. So I don't feel too stressed. And if in the future, if I need to add detail to the other 2 sides, I know what colors I used. So I'll be able to go back, and if I need to do one of the sides or both of the sides, it won't really matter. I would have liked to do an oxidized red on here first, just because it's more subtle. But the bright red is okay. I feel like the stuff will still show up. Nothing really shows up well on camera, though. That's the only thing. That's why I had to put you super close, because it just doesn't show up like it should. So I'm going to have to make a piece for here, and I'm going to make a piece for there as well. Wonder if I do have my stripping. It's my last piece. This is the same stuff that I used on the whatchamacallit. The other kit I did. Okay, I'll have to do something with that after, just to kind of make it stronger and to cover up the crack. Now, don't forget, every Monday night at 7 o'clock, we've got Off the Track, or is it Off the Rails Monday? So it's Dundas Junction Model Railroad James and Trackside Mike, our Canadian counterparts. And they always put on a good show every Monday night. I hope you guys are excited for Christmas. I know I am. Every December 25th, Rapido always puts out a new announcement, and it's always in the form of something good. Whether it's another Go train, because they did that a couple of years ago, where they announced the F-59 and the bi-level cars. The D10. The D10 was a couple of years ago as well.
Last year I was underwhelmed. I don't even remember what it was. That's how underwhelmed I was.
You found a place that still has pre-orders for the Rapido bi-level cars. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, there's a couple of places that probably if they reserved so many, they're probably still trying to get the ones sold that are supposed to come in. You know, sell it before it even comes in to the store. Two packs of 3. James, I found a famous Budweiser bird sign to go along with it.
Now, also starting in the new year, there, I'm ready, and I'm happy to say this. I'm ready to start my yard.
I just need track and switches. That's all. So once I obtain that, that'll be my next big thing. Because if you look up here, this piece of paper that's kind of sitting wonky here, this is what my yard is going to look like. And it's supposed to be, there's a couple of things going on there. It's supposed to be Mac Yard. CN Mac Yard. But it's a combination of two different parts of the yard, because that yard is very big. So I'm taking aspects from bits and pieces of it here and there, and I'm making an entire bottom level, basically, or my entire bottom level is based off of that. And there's some local switching too, which is also good. Christmas 2023, they announced the FT Loco set and the TTC Subway set. Right, that's why I was so underwhelmed. Because of the where you get like the background, or like the display stand, which is like the Subway. I'm like, it's so before my time, or what I model anyways. It's a cool model, but it doesn't really fit what I do. Larkspur was busy today. I haven't been there in a little bit. I'd like to go out to the brown bag sale that they always have Boxing Week. I gotta see if they have any, because I need a good 30 switches for my yard, and I need to see if they have any that are lightly used. When I say lightly, I mean still almost brand new, because I hate buying used stuff. I just find that you're buying someone else's problem at that point. But if they've got some like new, I might have to get some. All right, Floyd, you have yourself a great night. Yeah, usually Rapido announces something pretty cool every Christmas, so I'm really excited to see what they announce this year. And it's always in the email that you get bright and early Christmas morning when you're opening up your presents. Chris May, how's it going? Russ is rocking O and HO trains. How's it going? This is super tedious. You guys can't even see really what I'm doing here. So hold on, let me see. Let me show you. Yeah, so you can kind of see all the little speckles there. I'm doing random bricks, and what'll happen is that you do the wash over it, you do a couple of different colors, and then then you hit it with the stuff to go in between all the the bricks. So we'll see what happens here with this. Again, it's way easier, I think, personally, with a wood kit. But to do it with a plastic kit, we'll see. We'll see. Pine Valley Railway, how's it going? Yeah, no, I did a primer on this, and then I did the red, and of course I did the gray along the bottom. I do have to touch up some of it, but most of my blemishes, we'll call them, or blunders, hopefully they get hidden with the weathering and the work, because I hate doing touch-ups. You know what I mean? It's one thing to work on something and then have to go back and then touch it up again. It's like, yeah, Sparky is doing his Christmas Day show as well. Do we know the time for that? Is Sparky still here? What time he's starting? I want to say it's 1 p.m., but I might be wrong. That's why I want to double check. He always does giveaways and whatnot. Noon. Oh, okay. I'll be working, so it'll be nice to watch. Because I doubt I'll be taking any phone calls on Christmas Day. One year I worked an 8-hour shift and I took a total of one call that entire night. So, yeah. The rest of the time I was building gingerbread houses and doing candy shaped brickwork on that.
Yeah, I expect to be hearing a lot of announcements soon. If not just by the end of the year, come the end of January as well, when we go to Springfield, there's going to be a lot of new announcements as well. When you take a big show like that, when all the big boys show up, you get a lot of announcements and whatnot.
And last year was awesome. You work PCC. What's PCC? Uh, all right. All right, Steve. No worries. Yeah, it's really intricate trying to do a lot of these little brick pieces and whatnot. I think it'll be more fun come Thursday when I show you guys where I'm putting all the track and whatnot on the layout. But this is what I do every Saturday. So I usually pick a kit and build it, or I take something like this one here, pre-existing kit, and I'm gonna bring it back to life, and I'm gonna see if I can detail it, weather it, do whatever it takes to make it look a little bit better. And I've got tons of kits, most of which are 50% done. And then if I happen to get a new kit, I'll start another one. Kind of like the engine facility or the repair shop or whatever you want to call it. But I was very happy with how that turned out. I've got 2 more doors to put on it, so it's not completely done yet. But it is up on the layout so that I can start building in front of it and figure out roughly, how the track's going to go for that. I do have a picture up here of how I want the switches to go, but we'll have to see, because there's a huge difference between drawing out a plan and actually making the plan happen. My biggest concern really is doing Mackyard and getting that done, because that creates a loop, my bottom loop, and then all the track is literally done mainline wise for the bottom level. So then I can start going up the helix, and then I can worry about getting my second level mainline done. So right now I can run a train from the paper mill to the bottom of my helix, which is also cool because I did that last week. I don't know if you guys saw my layout update video, but it basically shows all that work that I did to get that done.
I think I'm going to do half of this. So I'm going to get to like right here, and then I'm going to switch colors, and then I'll be able to show you the next color that I'm going to do. I also need to get a new fine tip brush. This has seen better days. That's a good question. I'm using a number 5, or is it a? Yeah, it's a number 5, but I use the Citadel miniatures paintbrushes. These are good for those who do those Warhammer, little Warhammer guys. I trust their brushes and their paints. I used to do Warhammer as well for a little while. So, when you get so used to using certain things, you kind of turns into a habit. So how long will my Go and Via stations be? I want each station to at least be 6 feet long. That means I'll be able to do a locomotive and 5 cars. 5 car. It's either 5 or 6 cars, which I'm totally okay with. But that's that's the minimum is 6 feet. So if I show you, which I totally can, I'll show you my Mackyard photo. It's really, people always laugh because I used to make, I don't like using computer programs to do this stuff. I draw it out, but everything is measured. So this here, you can kind of see along the bottom here, this is station platforms, those really dark lines. So I have the train station right at the edge here with 2 tracks, and from under that bridge there all the way down to here, that's 6 feet. So I can fit 2 trains in here. And for those who live in Toronto, that's the 407 bridge over Mackyard, and that's Highway 7 that goes over Mackyard. And this is just like the entrance. This is where the paper mill is when you go this way, because there's a wall here. And then you've got an industry up here where there's just box cars that are dropped off. And then these are obviously your ladders. And my lines are super straight. Don't even joke. So then you can kind of see here where it goes into a double track that loops. It loops on itself here. So I got to put like an auto reverser in here. And then basically this is going to be where loco storage is, like in this main area here. I forget what street that is, but that's another bridge that goes over. So typically what you would do is you would have obviously all your storage tracks out this way, but in real life, this whole section here is up here. And then you've got your loop with logo storage right here, but I'm making a combination of both. So that's kind of how I worked it out. And this, you're going to see me build this starting next year. Which, when I say next year, I mean literally next month, January, right? Doug, Forever DC 302, how's it going? I was just working north of that at CP Vaughn Yard. Just got home. Oh, nice. Yeah, there was originally I wanted to do the Brampton Yard, but then because of how it is, and I feel like that one would need to be a lot straighter of a yard, where this one here I can kind of like, it's so big that I can take bits and pieces of it and almost emulate that. So that's why I wanted to take that approach, because it's not going to be one for one. There's no way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would need way more space. I'm almost done. This much. It's actually not taking as long as what I thought it would. So that's good. I think the darker brick will show up better. And apparently you need a lot of patience to do this. They had no idea why I took all that time to do all the bricks on the last building, but I mean, it turned out really good. So that's why I'm kind of hoping, not banking on it, but I'm hoping that this also ends up looking okay. Because if you go through all this and then it doesn't look good, then it's going to be like, gotta paint over it. But I'm definitely going to try it out. So this is the Walthers paper mill. I know it doesn't look like much because it's just a really big building, but it's technically the paper mill building where there's other buildings to get in the series, but this is like the main one.
And unfortunately, I'm painting individual bricks right now. It would be more painful if I had to count all the bricks. This here, you just put a little dot or like a rectangle on each brick that you want to highlight, and you hope for the best. Always hope for the best. That support's looking pretty good. I think that's yeah, it's dry. So it's going to hold it now, which is good. You would have thought that they'd put something in there when, they designed it, but they didn't, of course. So now I got to do it. Oh yeah, the smell of the paper mill. No way, man. I was up north there and I drove past a paper mill. Well, I think it was more of a pulp mill because that's what smells. And even though I was like I could see it, but I was still pretty far from it. It's like that stink travels, and it's the kind of stink that gets in your nose, and then you can smell it a year later just by thinking about it, and it's gross. And my eyes are terrible as well. So if you think it's, a really difficult thing to do, don't be discouraged because my eyes are really bad and it's not too terrible. It's the blending part that really, really fixes everything. And then when you put the wash over it, it'll be okay. Yeah, just got a tiny little section left here to do. I worked at a paper mill once. Things always seem to be catching fire. A little nerve-wracking. Yeah, that. Were things catching fire because you would set things on fire, or I used to have that same thing happen. For some reason, I would always set things on fire, and I'd be like, I don't know how that happened. One me. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of water in this cup. That's my rinsing cup. I did forget my little towel for wiping off my brush, but I mean, there's not much on there anyways, so that should be okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so next up, and I guess I can show you this first before I put the dark color on. And typically you want to do a couple of different colors. So this is the brown, so this is the dark color. This was the medium color, this is the dark color, and then I've got a bright color as well, but I'll do that way later. And you can kind of see, I know it looks more like chicken pox than anything, so you'll just have to bear with me. And this is as far as I went. I just went right to this line here. So this is what we'll do. Actually, I wonder if you can actually see. I go like this. I have to put some sort of weight on there. There we go. All right, now you can see a lot better. And we're doing the exact same thing, but with a darker color. And you just gotta not go over the orange, because that would defeat the purpose of that. I wonder, because that's really hurting my back bending over. So I'm just going to go down onto my knee. Oh, you know what? I could probably lower the chair too. This might keep me a bit more stable. And just to kind of show you, I'm going to bring this close again. So I did a little bit here. So there's the dark spots. Again, this will all get blended, but those are the little dark bricks there. They're going to run throughout this entire section as well. Again, I can't stress it enough. This is why I'm only doing 2 sides. There's just so many bricks. Yeah, like the problem is that when you have a wood kit, the wood really absorbs the paint. The paint just sits on the top of it. So it's not going to have the same effect that it did on the wood kit. And that I'm already prepared for. But I'm hoping that the wash does pull it all together. That's kind of what I'm banking on here, is that the wash is going to literally make it look better.
Let me see if I can just lower my chair because that hurts my bad knee. Where is the? Whoa. Almost knocked over my leg. Also, I don't need to do all this on camera. I can do a lot of this on my own time, but I do want to try at the same time just to show you guys what I do. And then if you want to try it, go ahead. If you don't want to do it, if you think this is dumb, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't wish this upon anybody because not everybody has the patience to sit here and paint individual bricks. Just a lot of salt plants out here in Utah, besides some cool land that the raw salt doesn't stink, but the GSL as it states. I'll tell you the best smell, freshly cut lumber. That's probably the manliest thing that you could like. Blue smoke. I love the smell of the lumber section at the Home Depot. Well, I'll tell you, because in high school, I was in wood shop, and it's the smells that take you back to these places, right? And yeah, you're in Home Depot and you're walking through the lumber section, and it just reminds me of shop class. How I'd be covered with sawdust by the end of first period, and then they had like an air hose where you can just like kind of blow all the sawdust off of you. But it's like no matter how hard you try that, it's not coming off. And then you sit with that sawdust for the rest of the day. I don't find that I need to do as much of the brown brick here. Freshly cut ITLA kits. Yeah. When I cracked open my ITLA kit, you just give it one of those, a whiff, and you're like, smells expensive. So, for the people that are in the chat there still, um, who is anybody going to Springfield in January to the train show in Massachusetts? I'm almost positive that Trackside Mike and myself will be there all weekend long. But I'm just wondering if anybody else is planning on going. Almar's going in? Cool. I saw him last year. Anthony Borden? Cool, cool. Went last year, maybe next year. That's fair. That's fair, Chris. For me, it's an 8-hour drive, so hopefully I don't get lost this time. Pine Valley's going next year. Toll roads or no roads? That's right. Yeah, the Woodstock show is tomorrow. Again, I think it's the 100th train show they've had this year. Feels like they just had one too. Personally, every time I go to Woodstock, I usually end up just going to Otter Valley because it's like 30 minutes down the road. Personally. Yeah, but they're not huge, Russ, because like there's a couple, right? Like we used to have the Greater Toronto Train Show, and that was probably one of the biggest in Ontario. That's gone. The only one that's local to me is the Armprior Train Show, and that only happens in June, like right near the beginning of June. I think it's usually the first weekend. Everything else I'd have to drive for. They've got a big show in Alberta, but then I'd have to like literally take a plane to go to that because it's pretty far. It's on the other side of the Canada, so pretty far. I'm yet to go to the Berry show. The Berry show, I hear, usually is pretty good, but it was like was it a snowstorm last year? So that kind of puts a damper on things. The Burlington one. Yeah, isn't the Burlington one the one that's at that hotel or something? I'm pretty sure you mentioned that one to me before. The reason why I like going to ones in the States, though, is because a lot of these manufacturers are American. So they don't come to Canada. They just don't. And it sucks because it's like, that's a whole other market for you, especially if you do Canadian models. Come here from the people directly that you keep slapping Canadian models on American prototypes. That's probably why they don't come. I think we gave those Bachmann guys a headache last year for the nonsense with the charger that they gave us. Rightfully so. You're gonna charge me 1,500 for a full train, and I have to go and upgrade everything on it just to make it run properly. You're probably gonna hear a bunch of complaints at that point. And I hate to complain about, a model or whatever, because I know that it's not easy. It's not easy putting that stuff together and whatnot. But it should be a little bit more TLC with stuff like that, quality control. I've never thought about going to Sweden, but never say never. And you'd be the only person in Sweden I'd know. So that'd be like, going to Australia and meeting up with Artie. And I've actually met him in the States when he was down last year. Yeah, I think one of the big things, the reason why I like going to train shows, especially, in the States and whatnot, you'll see a lot more people than you would at these local shows that are very tiny. Nope. No, absolutely not. My problem would be getting to Sweden. That's my only problem. So holding the convention left. Oh, it's all the historical societies. Oh, that's cool. 49 days to the big show. That's right, Al. We'll be seeing you in Springfield. We were talking about that. Got to meet you last year. And if the Canada Post would go back to work, I could order my stickers so that I'd have them in time for the show. So I think I might have to get Trackside Mike to tell me who his guy is so I can get stickers from his guy. That way I have something to give out while I'm there. And I'll probably have to weather up some more of my pipe cars too. I'm afraid to take cars that I've weathered because last time I took some, there was somebody who wanted to buy the cars that I had already weathered and whatnot. I'm like, what? Those were just for display. So, but it is what it is. Nathan, how's it going, Nathan? You're just in time for helping me count all these bricks here. Because there's a lot of bricks. And your job is to count them all. No, I wouldn't do that to you. Although this is becoming problematic. You can kind of see it. I wonder if the light's just too bright. No, you can't see it at all. I'm gonna put a dull coat on that. I'm good. I'm working on hobby stuff. So as long as I'm working on hobby stuff, I'm good. It's that nasty in between time that I don't like where I'm not working on hobby stuff, but I'm about to work on hobby stuff. This wasn't even really on my list, but because I'm still waiting for other parts to come in for other things, I like to keep busy with projects that I started and did not get to finish. So this would be one of those times, and this would be one of those projects. Now, again, regardless of how this turns out, I think that it will be kind of neat to see how it turns out. And if I'm doing one wall at a time here, because I'm doing this front wall, and I've been doing it for about an hour, So I did the other thing first, where I cut the little sidewalk things or driveway things, whatever you want to call them. I still got to put the plaster on that though, which I'll probably do at some point this week. That way you can see next Saturday once they're painted. Do I paint them live? I don't know. I could. I mean, it's just gray, won't matter too much. But I can do them, paint them live, let them dry, and then I can glue them down, and you can see firsthand how it looks when you do all that. My phone's going nutty. Hopefully it's not important. Chris, on March 5th, I'm going to hopefully make a video about my adventure of 10 years on YouTube, because I started in 2015 and I want to make it special when the day comes. Yeah, it's honestly, something that everyone should do, especially if you do something that consistent for that long. I don't know where the last 10 years have gone for me. Layout after layout after layout. Building kit after building kit. It's crazy. How did I get interested to be a YouTuber? That's a good question. So when I had started 10 years ago, my wife found out she was, well, she didn't find out she was, we found out she was pregnant, and I was having my first child. And then I found out it was a boy. And I said, well, I guess I should pull out my train stuff, because he might be interested in that. And, obviously, even though he was a baby and whatnot, just kind of playing with the trains and letting him hear the sounds and stuff and whatnot. But it was already a while since I had done anything with the hobby. So I started looking it up, and the first thing that I came across was James Wright's videos. And that was back when he was doing his big oval. And that was his first, like how to build a model railroad series. And, I had watched quite a bit of it. And I had started doing a lot of stuff myself. And I'm like, well, I'd like to be able to document a lot of this and whatnot. And I'd like to be able to share my opinion on, certain locomotives that I get or rolling stock. Just kind of, just share the hobby. So that's what I did. And the whole Go Vera Go Home, which was a name that had started as my eBay seller name, because in order to buy and sell, you had to have an account. So, and I remember standing in the kitchen, and I was very much like, well, I like Go and Via. They're my favorites. And much like most of the other things that I try to do, it's go big or go home. So instead of go big or go home, it was go Veer or go home. And I haven't really looked back since. And now my son, he helps me do certain things around the layout. He's not overly, into certain things. He does like to help, though. And he's got his Lego train now that's going around the helix, so that's cool. That's really interesting, my son. Yeah, I think I'm older than you, Nathan. If you've ever played the Uncharted game, which is one of my favorite video games of all time, it's based off of a ring that an explorer has, and it has a Spanish encryption on it that says "Sic," as in SIC, "Sic Magnus." What is it? Something, "Sic Magnus Partum," which I believe is Spanish for greatness from small beginnings. And I think that's the kind of journey that we all take, right? You start small and then you watch it grow, and you just kind of grow with it. Yeah, Mike, he still says that's his favorite train too. He won't let it go. If you see words that are just speaking to my phone because I'm terrible. That's okay. I like to poke fun, so it's all good. My son is 22 and has absolutely no interest in trains. Dang video games got him. Yeah, I mean, like I still, I play video games. I've played video games all my life, but I don't, you know, I don't let it take over my life. Same thing with my kids. Like they play video games. We play video games together. Um, Sometimes after a long day of work, all I want to do is just sit there and, play some video games, blow off some steam. I don't always get the bug, the modeling bug. And I think that's why I can do this, and I have the patience for doing things like this for long extended periods of time, because I can really shut down and focus, just like with video games. Unless I'm losing, then I'm like, that's to this. I'm going to go outside and fresh air. Just kidding. I go work on hobby stuff. And I said to my parents, I want a YouTube channel, and that's where it all began. I've been doing it since 2015. I feel like it's very special to be a YouTuber because of all the nice people. You meet all types, Nathan. You meet all types. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I mean? I've met so many people through just this hobby. If we take away the YouTube thing, just the hobby by itself, a lot of amazing, talented people. And then some people that are just, I could do without. I usually end up blocking those people because they don't help the hobby. They don't make it better. They're just in it for the money. Or the whiners. Oh. Complain. I have a few complaints, but I don't let it consume my life. And when I review something, I tend to review the things that I really want, things that I really need, or things that I was really looking forward to. And if I was let down, then yeah, I'm going to let you know. But, tearing a company apart for a model or whatever, it's not worth it. My son is into music. He's 32, but he's also making a good living in the music industry, so I can't complain. No interest in trains, but that's okay. Yeah, everybody, everybody has their own path, right? And, like I did the model train thing when I was young. Like my uncle, who's since passed, he gave me my first set. And, there was a CP loco, an O&R loco, Santa Fe, an MBTA F40, and they were all DC. And it was one of those times where you're like, this is amazing. This is the most amazing thing I have. And it was on a 4x8 table, and yeah, I did a loop and all that. It's just creating a world that to you is perfect, even when ours, the real one, isn't. The place to go and escape, kind of like when you play video games. That's an escape too. But I think it was right around when just before I turned 11 and my father and mother separated. And it was something that I had worked on with my dad. And when he left, just like anyone else, when, lots of people go through that stuff, parents separate and you become mad and stuff. And I took it all apart. I didn't know what I was doing anyways. I was only 11. Think I knew electrical? No. So I took it all apart and boxed it all up, and that's how it was for a long time. Eventually, I tried to set stuff back up, but when you're a kid and you don't really have tools, the tools to do things or the money to, do things, it makes it a little bit more difficult. By then, I was a teenager and I was skateboarding every single day. And when I wasn't skateboarding, I was snowboarding because of obviously the weather. And eventually, things just they change. Everything changes. You become more interested in girls, hanging with your friends. That's how it is when you're a teenager. You guys know how it is. But then you find out that you're having children and everything changes. Sounds like it's easier to make a train display if you have YouTube as a connection of access to ideas and inspiration. Well, there's a big part of, you know, learning. And when I was skateboarding, I'd always skateboard with people that were better than me. And that's how you got better. You learn from other people. And then someone else will say, well, I can't do that, but you can. And then you help them and you show them how to do it. And then the look on their face when they do it. And, you're proud of them, they're proud of them. It's just how it is. The hobby is the same way, you know. You learn something from watching somebody's video, and then being able to do it yourself, even though we are our own worst critic, it's still like, okay, I can do that. I can do it. I can make a train run. I can set up electrical now, and I can paint this box car. I know how to switch out an industry, all because I watched so and so's video, or so and so helped me. That's how you keep growing. That's how you grow as an individual, and that's how you grow as a community. My dad was on TV one time for BMX, biking tricks, and skateboarding. He did all them all in a time and place. He's still a little kid. When I grew up I grew up in the '90s, and the '90s was huge for skateboarding and BMXing and whatnot, and it still exists. It still happens, but now it's a lot more of the social media stuff, right? You see a lot of these guys with their channels, promoting themselves to try to get, sponsored or whatever by companies. And social media has its good side and its bad side. I would take my daughter to train shows, but before I could buy or look at the table, we had to visit Joe, who sold dolls and toys. She would make a selection. Yeah, something for me, something for you. That's perfect. Kind of like an unwritten compromise. Everybody's happy. My dad originally bought me my first train over 50 years ago. I still have all these cars and they're all in use. The loco is now an ornament. Neat. Because my stuff was, and when I think about it, because I'll be 40 in March, cars and the locomotives I had, they were all older than me. So they were all over 40 years old. And some of them just didn't work well. You know, you kind of figure it out as you go. I changed out the wheels on some, but most of the stuff was broken or just didn't run well. If you're into video games, my uncle Dan has a business where he rents video games to people like bars and other places. And my uncle Dan lives where DJ lives. Oh, neat. Actually, the only locomotive I have left from that set, I had actually repainted it, and it was the Santa Fe. I know Mark would probably be super mad if he knew that because he likes his Santa Fe. But yeah, I had repainted it. It when it runs now because it needs some maintenance for sure, but you can see it sparks when it runs, which is I think that's funny because that's just how it really shows its age at that point. Have I ever been to America before to visit? Yes. So my wife is a huge Disney nut. So we've been to Disney World, which is in Orlando, uh, three or four times, um, and then we just we just got back from Vegas in September, so I've been to Vegas as well, which was really cool. Very different there. And then just over the border, a couple places like Buffalo, and of course, I've been to Massachusetts last year to the Springfield show. I've been trying to get out more. It's tough though. My job is kind of a pain for trying to get time off. No sense. Yeah. I had a steamer as well. I think it was a two no, it was a 480, a 480 CP, I think it was. And there was some parts on it that um like the middle section of those wheels, it it's almost like it broke. So the wheel just one of the wheels would not stay on or stay connected. It was like kind of bent. I don't know. Things happen when you move, and I moved a lot, moving from Toronto to Ottawa, and then I've moved like 4 or 5 times just being in Ottawa in the last 10 years. So yeah, it's definitely tough, but it happens. Uh, it did smoke as well, which was kind of cool, but again, it was just at that point, it was just parts. Can't do much with it. My daughter had worked at Epcot in the Canadian Pavilion twice, now in two batches of 362 days. That's how the work visit Hanover very much. Very much a Disney fan. That's cool. If my wife could live at Disney, I bet she would. I I think Disney is special in that sense where like because I never went when I was a kid, so you know that's the time to go when you're a kid. But getting to take my kids and seeing the looks on their faces and all that, you know, stuff, it's a good feeling, and being able to do that, yeah, it's cool. Then you become cool dad. I got what I want to go on Amtrak to go to Canada because I would love to do something like that. Canada's cool. Depending on what area, of course, some areas are busier with trains than others, but not every area. So you just got to know where you're going. That's all. I live in Pennsylvania. I know there's 3 places of Amtrak to go through Canada. I think I'm a little closer to New York. Yeah. So there is definitely one that goes to Toronto, which is the Maple Leaf. There's one that goes to Montreal, and I forget the name of that one. Um, but yeah, but if you ever come to Canada, you got to let us know. That way, we can find you and then show you around. Have a good night, Rainer. Thanks for watching. So if this works, and this turns out okay, I just got to copy it on the rest of this. That'll be my thing. That'll be what I have to do. But this is the test, right? This is my will this work? If it does, great. If not, well, guess I gotta start over. Right now I'm doing a wash of the burnt umber. And I really hate that piled up down there. I would love to take a trip along the West Coast and go south. Okay, so this is kind of what I've got here. So keeping in mind it's obviously not dry. So this is what it looked like before. Kind of boring. This is kind of what it looks like now. Probably have to do a bit more. And I have to do some brighter color in there. So you can see the light color, but again, it doesn't stick out as much as I'd like it to. So I got to do the bright color as well. It is. It's a really big building. It's but I mean you got to be able to fit boxcars inside, which you can probably fit 3 50-footers or 2 60-footers. I've got my 60-footer here, so I'm going to show you as an example. So that's a 60-footer. So you can fit 2 inside here. Vents. Not vents again. I did vents last week. I literally made a show of it. It was jokes and everything. Now, the one thing that I did on the wood kit that I'm definitely going to have to try on here is the powder. It's like the non-mixed concrete stuff, and then you just wipe it on with your finger or whatever. I have vented plenty. Yeah. Now I will have to let this dry, but so far so good. Probably. So I'm gonna try to do it with this one here. And need my rusty knife. I definitely want to put my elbow in the paint. So that'll be cool, right? Just kind of cap that off there. Yeah, hopefully do not ruin this. Famous last words. So that's not part of the kit, but I like it there. I'll probably have to paint that. There's a nice little racing stripe, so wind resistance and all that stuff. No, I think it looks good just covering up the seam, and then I'll probably paint it silver because usually when buildings are really long like that, they have like these metal pieces that come down. It connects the joints or covers up the joints. And then I gotta do another one for here. But I'm gonna put that roof part on first. Ugh. Oh, that's because that piece it does that. Okay, so if I assume that that's how that's going to be, then I can assume that this will go to here. Okay, so I put one there, one here. That'll cover up that ugliness there. And so yeah, you can kind of see the difference here. So plain wall, this is what it looked like before, kind of boring. And now this one has a bit more depth to it. I do want to add the brighter color in there as well. How does that look, guys? Is that believable? Now I do have to fix that corner as well. How is it to go through the border of Canada and America and back? Um, Here is my review of going through the Canadian border versus going into the American border. Um, so it was kind of funny because on my vehicle I have a decal that Brian Ferguson made me, and it says "Go VR, go home." And the first time going through the Canadian border to America, they asked me what "Go VR or go home" was, and I had to get into a long discussion with the guy at the border thingy about what "Go VR, go home" is and model trains, and yeah, so it was interesting. It was an interesting conversation for sure. And he's like, "Okay, well, don't cause any trouble while you're, in Canada or in America." And I'm like, "Okay, I promise I won't." Um, and it went relatively smooth, mind you. It was like, what time was it? I think it was like at least 11 o'clock at night that I was at the border. And then coming home, he was basically like, "You're Canadian? Get in here, hurry." Nah, but it was funny because I had purchased some trees from whatever that realistic tree looking company is. Looks like a giant tumbleweed. Come on, somebody help me out with this. I'm half awake here. I can't remember the name of stuff. What is it called? Anyways, I felt bad because I had a box of trees in the back, and I'm like, I have trees in the back, but they're not real trees. They're like scenery trees. They're like yay tall. It's not real. It's fake. Super trees. Yeah, there we go. Whew, that would have killed me. I would not have been able to sleep tonight. And I wish I was joking. Uh, yeah, so I had to express that I had these fake trees in the back that are not real trees. They're just fake. They're real fake looking trees. Scenic Express. That's the other word. Yeah. So that was an awkward conversation. I feel like every conversation I have with a complete stranger is awkward because I don't assume he will know anything about what I'm talking about. So I just, I keep it cash, and then I, just hope that they let me through. And so far, so good. Even going to Detroit, when we went to Vegas, we drove through Detroit to the Detroit airport, and then we took a plane from there to Vegas. And there was a car load of us adults, and we're all passing up our passports, and it's like, how much do each of you have? What are you doing? Where are you going? Who's with who? Kind of deal. And it was fine. They let us through. It was a pain getting back through. It was a huge line. It's like everybody get to Canada weekend or something. I don't know what was going on that weekend, but yeah, huge lineup at the border. All the other times it was fine. We just flew right through basically. But yeah, I haven't had any negative experiences crossing the border. I think that if you've got nothing to hide and you've got nothing to worry about, then you're gonna go and you're gonna be fine. So yeah, you guys are just hanging out on the corner. That's not even the corner I've been working on. That I mean, I glued that just now. But Steve, 87th, welcome. No, so this is what the building looked like before, and I went through and I painted individual bricks. There's two different colors here. There's a light color, and then there's a dark color. But you can kind of see the difference, the look. I know the lighting doesn't help, and this is still technically wet, so there is a bit of a maybe I'll turn my light off. Well, that just makes it super dark. Okay, at least that glare's gone though. So, whoops. But yeah, that's kind of what I did tonight. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it took a while because there's a lot of bricks on the building. I had a friend lose his car to his customs because one of the passengers from France claimed to be from Quebec. That's weird. Yeah, I have to explain myself at the Canadian border every time coming back to the US. They're like, so why do you want to go into the US? That's funny. I'm sure just like most jobs where you're dealing with the general public, like whenever I go get a tattoo, I always talk to the tattoo artist and I always ask, what's the craziest story that you have? And they always have a crazy story. For me and my job, for what I do, because I talk to the general public, if you said, hey, Chris, what's your craziest story? I would have one for you because I have a trunk full of crazy stories. And it's just the way it is. Whether you want to or not. It's just that's what happens. You always get these crazy stories, and going through the border patrol. I'm sure border patrol has crazy stories. Have you ever watched the show Border Patrol, where they're trying to smuggle whatever through the border, and it's like, did you really think that was gonna work? And then they play dumb and they're like, I don't know. I don't know where I've never seen this before in my life. I don't even know what that is. It's funny. It sounds like common sense. The people at the border are just people just trying to live their lives. Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. We all got crazy stories. We all deal with nutty things, and it is what it is. But if you're like, for me, going to Vegas, 10-year anniversary with my, or 10-year anniversary. Yeah, well, wedding anniversary, anyways. But wedding anniversary with my wife, going with our friends, going to Vegas. That's all it is, right? And you got nothing to hide. That's all it is. But that's what they look for, right? They're always looking for the shady people, the shysters. Don't be shady, and you got nothing to worry about. Went to Canada right after 9/11 happened to take my sister back to meet her husband in BC. They made us wait an hour in the waiting room for an hour while they searched my truck. Huh. I wonder if they do like random checks, here and there like that, where it's not really calculated. It's not targeted for you. It's just they need to do that for, it's kind of like, surprise, you're the 100th customer today. We're going to check your vehicle. That kind of situation. But I mean, come on, after 9/11, I mean, I really don't blame them for beefing up security. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day too, and like I was in high school when that happened, and it still hits like the same today as it did back then. It was like whoa, you know, I can't even really explain or express. Interesting that you mentioned that my uncle Dan did something similar in the Navy. His crew were trying to stop people taking drugs from other countries. Yeah, I mean, was he doing border patrol, but like on the in the sea? I'm not really sure of the Navy's jurisdiction and whatnot and what they cover. Well, it's good that they were at least nice about it, Russ. I know some of them get real nasty, but again, normal people just trying to do their job, right? Who knows? Um, I might, I might not be so lucky next time I go through the border. But again, I got nothing to hide anyways. They can, as long as they as long as they like and subscribe, then they can, search my vehicle if they want. Uncle Dan would do stop people like that by being submarine and have them arrested. That sounds like a pretty cool job. Not the arresting people part, but like, you know, everything else. So I just want to do this top part here because that's going to bother me if I don't do that. And then I'll take a final look at it and I'll decide yay or nay if I'm going to continue doing this with the rest of the kit because let's face it, that's a lot of work just doing the brickwork. I know it'll look really good when it's done, but you gotta put a lot of time and whatnot into it first. Okay, so let's take that off. So again, see, like this is the Citadel colors. I love using these as well. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, use the Deco Art or what's this other one? Folk Art." I don't know why I got that one, but Deco Art is a very popular brand, or Americana, whatever you want to call it. You get them from Michaels or most craft stores. These are really good, honestly. But there's been so many times where I go and I'm like, I need a specific color or a shade, and they never had it. But you know what? Citadel Colors always has it, and they're expensive and they're little, so you gotta use it sparingly in some cases. But okay, so we'll take another look here. There's one last look, I think, before I throw in the towel here for tonight for the rail talk. Okay, so again, we fixed the inside wall here. That's holding up strong. It's not going anywhere, and it's going to keep this all together. I added these fancy racing stripes here, mostly to hide the ugly crack. I guess it's just the way the kit went together. But once that's like, I'll paint that silver, it'll look really nice. Maybe add a bit of rust or whatnot on there. And then I can also do the brickwork like I did here, where you're adding a couple of different colors of brick. I still have to do the bright to kind of make it pop a little bit more, but that's more or less the look that I was going for. Compared to bland, you know, bland. Doesn't even look like brick, where this you can see a little bit more and there's a little bit more highlight to it. And I have to go over the gray out here a little bit, beef that up a bit. And then, of course, the capping here did the nice black capping, so it's no longer red. But it's slowly getting there. And I think it'll look good once I finish the rest of this. But we'll see what happens. Between that and, of course, that whole, what is it called? The concrete stuff. Yep. Sorry. There we go. So I've got that it's going to go back in that corner there. I also have this here. So this is normally what I use for fascia, right? This would go right on the front and cover up whatever here, right? This here, I'm going to put under this. So I'm going to glue that to this to raise it up a bit, but it's also going to give it a steady platform that I can lift this up, take it somewhere, or whatever, if I ever need to move it or pull it off the layout to work on it. Because not only does it raise it up a bit, it'll make it look a little bit more better when this is like right in front here, because it's the same thickness, the cork. So that's another reason. And there's going to be a section that sticks out of the side, and I'll be able to add little tanks and whatnot on the side, and then have piping go up the building and whatnot right from the tank. So when I lift this off, I'm taking the tank with it. So again, stuff like that, little detail pieces, I'll be able to add all that as I go. And this is just the first building. You can see behind me here, I've got a couple more paper mill buildings that I'm going to be working on as well. So this is my full paper mill here. So this building goes in that back right corner. Then I want to repaint that blue building so that it's no longer blue. Probably to be more like this tan building, which is the craft mill. And I've got a couple more detail parts that I've got to go on that. I need to weather that. And the tanks and whatnot like that has to go right into there. And then all of these buildings are all on one platform. So I got to like lock them in, get the lighting done for it, because they already light up, but I have to fix all the wiring from the move. And drop the wires below for power for the lighting. Same thing with that building, but that's going to be done separately. And then I need to add one more switch right here, right underneath where this is. And then just run track back to here. And then I've got my paper mill done. And I can put some cars in there to populate it. But mostly just I'll be able to switch it out for now and just play around with the idea of that. So, yeah. Lots to do, but we're getting there, because one thing at a time, right? So I figured start with this, and then work my way from one end of this wall area here to the other. The track is all done, like I said, except for the one switch, which I'll probably get in a couple of weeks or so. And then I'm starting in that room there, out there, doing the yard, which I've already showed you, but I'm just going to show you again. It's going to look just like this. And hopefully it's epic. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. And you guys get to all watch it happen live. So we'll be doing some stuff out there on Thursday because it's my week to do Third Rail Thursday. So come back, obviously, and we'll hang out, and I'll do some work out there this time. Other than that, of course, Third Rail Thursday. First week is Denny, which is N-Scale Dystopia on the second Thursday. Mark will be the following week, M&M Rails, and of course, GVO After Dark. This month, there is no GVO After Dark because that would mean it would be on Boxing Day. And usually, whatever show happens before Christmas, I just say that's it till the new year. But, I'll remind you guys, of course, because I tell the guys to take Christmas off and all the way to the new year. But, of course, Denny will be back on the 2nd to do Third Rail Thursday, starting off the brand new year, I guess you could say. So fun times. I know January is going to be a pretty busy month. Lots of live shows, of course, for you guys. So stay tuned. We've got way more. No end in sight for this. If you were hoping it was going to end, it's not going to end. And I think, because we also have an extra Thursday in January, so I think we might have somebody filling in as well. Maybe we'll do a special episode of some sort. The gears are always going. So. But until then, I want to thank you guys very much for watching. This has been Rail Talk Live. I'm Go Veer, Go Home. And I appreciate every single one of you. You have yourselves a great night, and we'll see you on Thursday.